I give the floor to Ms. Oemwa Johnson, Youth Representative from Kiribati.
President of the General Assembly, Undersecretary General for Disarmament Affairs, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Oemwa Johnson, a youth from the Republic of Kiribati. I am honored to speak on behalf of the Nuclear Age Peace Foundation and its youth initiative, Reverse the Trend, at the high-level meeting to commemorate the International Day Against Nuclear Tests, an initiative spearheaded by Kazakhstan. I also stand here as a fourth-generation nuclear survivor from Christmas Island, a living embodiment of the long-lasting consequences of nuclear testing. My presence here underscores the urgent need for acknowledgement and action regarding the ongoing implications of these tests on our health, our environment, and our very existence. I speak today with urgency and hope on behalf of survivors and young people for a future free of nuclear weapons, a future that is both necessary and inevitable. Nuclear weapons use, including nuclear weapon testing, left an indelible mark on affected communities, particularly on the people of Kiribati. The United Kingdom and the United States detonated nuclear bombs at Christmas Island, resulting in generations living with poisoned soil and cancers. President and distinguished delegates, when I speak of nuclear testing, I do not speak from history books. I carry the voices of my ancestors and the lived pain of my family. Between 1957 and 1962, as part of Operation Grubble, the United Kingdom and the United States conducted some of the most powerful thermonuclear detonations on Christmas. My great-grandfather, Bauro Takatea, and my grandfather, Metua Bauro, who was only 14 when they lived through those bombings. They had no shelter, no real protection. Instead, they were given only a thin blanket to cover their eyes against the blinding flashes. The smallest tennis court on the island, which was used as a gathering space, was not large enough for everyone. Some villagers were sent away on boats to nearby islands to make room, while others remained exposed on Christmas, forced to crouch under the sky as fireballs lit up the sky and shook the earth beneath their feet. Radiation exposure left my grandfather with lasting health issues, hearing loss, memory decline, and conditions never before seen in our family. Other nuclear survivors have also experienced the same conditions and even extreme health complications. The intergenerational effects are undeniable. Two of my father's older siblings were born prematurely and died shortly after birth. His older sister, the one born just before him, died at the age of 18 after suffering from an undiagnosed neurological illness and a known but severe headache. My father also suffers from chronic migraine, and I too have experienced chronic migraines and other unexplained health conditions. This is not the past, it is the present. It is my people's and my family's reality, and it is why I stand before you today to remind this assembly that nuclear weapons have poisoned our land, ocean, and bodies. They destroy lives across generations. My community should serve as a stark reminder that nuclear weapons can never be justified as abstract security tools. The Pacific Islands did not choose to become a laboratory of destruction, and the suffering imposed by colonial powers detonating their radioactive bombs is inseparable from histories of domination and disregard for human dignity. President and distinguished delegates, in this struggle for the total and irreversible elimination of nuclear weapons, the Treaty on the Prohibition of Nuclear Weapons emerged as a landmark of nuclear disarmament and is one of the only disarmament treaties in which affected communities and civil society are meaningfully included. Articles 6 and 7 of the treaty also reframe nuclear disarmament as both a humanitarian and environmental imperative, adding urgency for all states to join the treaty without delay. Furthermore, we view environmental remediation as central to nuclear disarmament, as we cannot speak of disarmament without addressing the poisoned waters and irradiated lands, all of which left behind an intergenerational health crisis. Nuclear justice means cleanup, reparations, and victim assistance, in addition to the total and irreversible elimination of nuclear weapons. In this regard, I am grateful to both Kazakhstan and my state, Kiribati, for spearheading efforts on establishing an international trust fund for the victims of nuclear weapons. An international trust fund is urgently needed to help victims. It must be established as soon as possible. We, the victims, cannot wait for more negotiations. President and distinguished delegates, we must also reconcile the gendered impacts of nuclear weapons use and testing. A feminist approach insists that human security must guide our policy, not militarized power, as women are disproportionately affected by radiation exposure. Women in Kiribati and other affected Pacific islands, such as the Marshall Islands and French Polynesia, as well as in impacted regions in Algeria, Kazakhstan, and North America, bore disproportionate burdens, miscarriages, birth defects, and long-term reproductive health complications. The abolition of nuclear weapons protects the principles of gender equality and dismantles systems of domination over care. The fallout struck most deeply to mothers and children. At the same time, women are historically excluded from decision-making, yet they emerged as some of the strongest advocates for truth, care, and nuclear disarmament. Their leadership demonstrates that a feminist approach to disarmament is essential, one that centers human security, equality, and care, not militarized power. President and distinguished delegates, the abolition of nuclear weapons, in the words of former UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon, is no longer a dream. It is the unfinished business of decolonization. We are not prepared to inherit a legacy of complacency, nor can we continue to live in the shadow of these weapons. Thank you.